Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the final week of Mental Health Awareness Month. I wanted to take us through a few different things that really tie hand in hand to all the different initiatives we've had over mind, body, and soul throughout the last few weeks together, and also the week of gratitude. So I want to start with the upward and downward spiral. I'm going to share my screen here. Allow. So this is the upward and downward spiral. So we can see where joy, freedom, empowerment, love, passion, this is whenever we're spiraling upwards. And then boredom is actually a really beautiful sign, because a lot of people think that whenever we are in, that the goal is to be happy all the time, right? And be on this constant incline. But the goal is not happiness all the time. The goal is to be able to experience happiness and joy and sadness and anger and rage, and then come back and have a healthy rhythm to our nervous system, as opposed to trying to stay happy all the time. And we all have shared so many different resources, which can be accessed in if you go to your shared drive, you can see a VHA Fit resource hub, and all the things we've given throughout the past few weeks and even in previous years can be found there. But it's really easy to come to this other side and spiral downwards. And so neutral is boredom, right? Which is a very healthy state. Boredom is okay. Usually that's never, we're just kind of taking things as they come and really staying aligned with what we're wanting to do and what we're wanting to create. But then whenever we experience something that maybe feels a little edgy or uncomfortable, or we're being called to expand and grow and evolve, that's whenever we can choose to go into the upward spiral, or we can choose to downward spiral and fall into pessimism or frustration, irritation, worry, doubt, anger, jealousy, insecurity, hatred, guilt, powerlessness. So we wanted to share this as like a helpful representation of reminder, and as a reminder to try and spiral upward as opposed to downward, and know that it's not always going to feel, you're not always going to be here at joy, right? But we can be hopeful and content and optimistic and eager. But whenever we start to fall into the downward spiral, where we go into all these other things, that's whenever that should raise red flags to us. These should not be our normal states. These should not be our dominant states throughout our days. So we really wanted to share that one as we were talking through all these different things, and even like ikigai, right? Because how are you supposed to really live in your soul purpose whenever we're in these states? You can't really access your purpose and your passion and thrive whenever we're in these downward spirals. The next thing I want to share is the drama triangle. I don't know how to switch my screen share. Let's try here. Just kidding. Oh, here it is. Okay. The next one I want to share is the drama triangle. And let me just share here. And I've actually talked about this before. If you watched my older video, that was probably like 2 years ago. That I made that video, but I shared it as a resource earlier in the last few weeks. But this is called the drama triangle, and you will probably notice once we start talking about this, how in different scenarios you adopt these different roles. So there's the persecutor, which this one doesn't value other people's views or integrity, is often angry, aggressive, judgmental, demanding, spiteful. That is the persecutor. You may find yourself falling into this in your really close-knit type relationships, where it's really easy to fall into. In marriage, we see this happen. That's a great example. In marriage, you see one person or the other often taking on the persecutor because they're in that downward spiral. The next one is the rescuer, and this is the person who really doesn't value other people's capacity to help themselves, so they have to be the hero for them. This looks like appearing to self-sacrifice, overly helpful and facilitative, like to be needed, prone to meddling unnecessarily, and engulfing. So the rescuer likes to save people and take on this hero, as opposed to allowing people to grow and step into a bigger role, or step into what they need to in order to accomplish their goals and be there for the people who need them. The rescuer wants to try and do it for them. The third one is the victim. And in this mode, this person doesn't value themselves and defers to others. So this person can have this like really poor me, everyone's after me, I'm helpless, I I have such a hard life, all of these things. And while all of those can be true, right? Because two things can coexist at the same time. Those things can be true, but you can choose to not be a victim to life circumstances and truly believe that life is happening for you, not to you. So that person also likes to blame others. So these are the three major roles, which of course there's in-betweens, right? We don't have to always be in one of these roles, but it's important to know in what scenarios you tend to take on one role versus the other, or float between the different roles. I know I have patterns in my own relationships where in romantic partnerships, I've noticed a pattern in myself where I do become the persecutor. And I've noticed other scenarios where I do become the victim. So just remembering that we get to choose how we want to show up and how we respond to what life is handing us. And sometimes it is handing us our A word, and we have to choose which of these we want to adopt. The third thing I wanted to share and bring top of mind, and I have shared this before as well, this is called our window of tolerance. And our window of tolerance is this state of what's called like ventral vagal in nervous system language. And ventral vagal is where you are in this healthy, open, present type of state. So you're within your window of tolerance, right? You're nice and regulated, you're safe and social. And then dysregulation can occur through hyperarousal or hypoarousal. So in hyperarousal, this is whenever we get out of our window of tolerance and we're in these states of anger or anxiety, panic, fear. All of these are part of the sympathetic nervous system branch. And then on the parasympathetic nervous system branch, we have hypoarousal, which is freeze, shut down, we're numb, exhausted, depressed, disconnected. And that's whenever we have gone too far this way, out of our window of tolerance. And like I said, a healthy nervous system is meant to be able to go into difficult states. It's not meant to life always be easy, breezy, flowy, right? We're meant to have rhythm and a healthy wave of upregulation and downregulation, but we never want to get stuck in out of our window of tolerance for too long. Some people's window of tolerances can be shifted. So this is ventral vagal. This is like a healthy and safe and social kind of nervous system, and this is a typical window of tolerance. But some people have been outside their window of tolerance for so long that their dominant state is anxiety, panic, fear, agitation. Okay. And then on the flip side of that, other people have been out of their window of tolerance for so long that now they are overly connected to being numb, exhausted, depressed, disconnected, flat, all of those things. So it's important for us to come back to our window of tolerance and regulation, which we do through coming into our senses of our body, using our smell, sight, touch, taste, all of those different senses, and coming into the present moment. So for different people, this can look so different, but throughout the past few weeks, we've given so many different resources and tools to use to come back into a state of regulation, so that your normal state can be in the healthy state that is going to serve our body. Whenever we are in either hyperarousal or hypoarousal, this is where we start to have disease come into the body. You can even find people who have immune or are immune compromised because of these things. So when your body's speaking to you, it's usually because it's been in one of these states for too long and it's asking to get your attention, and it shows up in different ways for everyone. So the more we can bring in safety to our body through nervous system regulation and the waves of upregulation and downregulation, and we can make time to be present and be socially engaged and connected, and we can come back into that healthy window of tolerance, the better we're going to feel in our lives. So I hope you guys have used all the different tools that have been given throughout this month, and that there are things you can come back to at any time. And any of us who have helped put on Mental Health Awareness Month all month long, any of us are here for you. Whether you're moving through things that are heavy or hard or just feel really difficult, know that we have a lot of tools that we're willing to offer, and we want to be here for all of you. So that is the last thing I want to share, and I hope you guys have had a great Mental Health Awareness Month. We will talk soon.